Hi, I'm Scott Engel, the Managing Director of RotoExperts.com. I am the king. I am fantasy and getting you ready for your drafts with our Fantasy 5, the first one of the baseball season. I'm going to give you my top 5 fantasy sleepers for 2013. I don't know what's more desolate, a Marlins regular season game or the New York Mets outfield. For fantasy purposes, you should be concerned with the latter. The guy I'm looking to actually make an impact and also maybe to get some playing time in the infield is Jordany Valdespin. Now, Valdespin's a hacker. He's a butcher at the plate. But when he makes contact, he makes things happen. He can be a spark plug. Valdespin has decent power and some speed. When you're looking at maybe the last pick in your draft, you're talking about a guy who can give you double figures in homers and double figures in speed. The Mets need some ignition in that lineup, and Jordany Valdespin can be that guy for you. One of my top sleeper pitchers is David Phelps of the New York Yankees. The Yankees certainly have their injury problems on offense, but if Andy Pettitte and Hiroki Kuroda cannot stay healthy, the Yankees organization, everybody inside the team really likes Phelps as a guy that can step forward and can really handle New York. Not only does he have plus pitches, but he also has the mentality to succeed on that big stage. If Ivan Nova would have falter or Pettitte or Kuroda would have go down, Phelps would get immediate opportunity. And we saw him pitch well for some spells last season. David Phelps is a guy that should eventually end up in the Yankees rotation this year and could make a nice impact even in a mixed fantasy league. One of my top closer sleepers, Mark Melancon of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jason Grilli is going to be the closer to begin the season, but he is not a guy who has the makeup to keep this job. Yes, he has the stuff, but he has the profile of a journeyman pitcher, and when you're a closer, it's all about mentality. And I've already seen in the World Baseball Classic that Grilli is a guy that can be shaky. Melancon comes back to the National League, and Clint Hurdle is a guy that can have a really quick hook with his fireman. We saw it before in Colorado. So when you're looking for those very, very late closer candidates, don't forget about Mark Melancon, who could reemerge in Pittsburgh. This is especially important when you're playing in a 2-catcher league or a National League only league. It's really hard to dig for those catchers. One guy, when I consistently talk to people throughout the NL East, a name that comes up is Rob Brantly of the Miami Marlins. This is a young guy, but he also has great discipline for a young player. Brantly's going to get every opportunity to play. He's a smart hitter, and he also has some power. Keep your eye on Rob Brantly. You know, there's not much going on in Miami, but bad teams can have good fantasy players. And when you're scraping in the late rounds for a catcher, this is a guy that you definitely want to draft. And my number 1 fantasy sleeper for 2013. He's actually had such a good spring that maybe even some people don't consider him a sleeper. And he's a little bit of a post-hype guy, Nolan Arenado of the Colorado Rockies. This guy has tremendous power potential, and he will definitely be better than Chris Nelson for defensive and offensive purposes. And of course, playing in Coors Field, hey, a guy like that always is going to look good. Look for Nolan Arenado to have a breakthrough season in 2013. If you want to see even more of my picks for 2013 and my exclusive insider reports where I take you behind closed doors in Major League Baseball for fantasy purposes, register now for the exclusive Edge Fantasy Baseball Package on RotoExperts.com. Look for the X, the mark of fantasy excellence.